Welcome back to AI Means Business. Somebody shared this diagram with me, and I like the clarity and simplicity of what's actually under the hood when people say AI or agentic AI. I'm talking about this for two reasons. Number one, it tells you where to start depending on what you're trying to do, and it gives you a way to judge the next AI tool someone tries to sell you. So there's four layers that are stacked. Each one sits on the one below it, and here's what they are in plain terms and what you'd actually be looking at in each. So the first layer, the model, this is the raw brain that I'm sure we're all familiar with. This is a chatbot where you ask and it answers. So Claude, GPT, Gemini. This is the part everyone thinks of when they say AI, and the only part most people ever touch. So the main takeaway here in this layer is that it's a commodity. Your competitor can buy the identical brain this afternoon for 20 bucks, and no one has ever won a market because they picked the right model. So don't agonize over which one to pick and really just pick one. The second layer here is agents. So this is where we get into the structure wrapped around that brain so it can work through a job instead of firing off one reply. It plans steps, it uses tools, and it remembers what it already did. So if you're not technical, this might be the Zapier Agents, Make, N8N, Lindy. If you are technical, then it's probably more like Claude Code or Cursor. And your dev team, if you have one, is probably in LangGraph or the OpenAI Agents SDK. So in this layer, remember that an agent that can act also needs a way to be stopped, which is often forgotten and can waste a ton of tokens. So the main takeaway here in this layer is this is where AI stops being a chatbot and starts becoming labor. It's also the first layer that can do something you'd have to apologize for. So before you turn one on, you should have decided exactly the problem you are addressing and the output that you are expecting. The third layer we're going to talk about is systems. So this is where agents stop working alone and start touching your real business. This is probably my favorite AI-related space to work. There's two jobs here. Connecting to your software runs on MCP now, so that's Anthropic's protocol, which has quietly become the standard for plugging agents into tools. And company knowledge that lives somewhere, so like Pinecone, Chroma, PG Vector, all of these tools, if you'd rather buy it packaged. Underneath both sits the boring part. So Fivetran or Airbyte that moves your data, and then it's being cleaned, BigQuery or Snowflake holding it. But remember, I have preached this before. Check out my first video. An agent pulling from three systems that disagree gives you confident garbage. So if your data sucks, this is not the layer for you initially, and it points directly to the data layer. Again, see the first video, especially if your data sucks. The main takeaway here is that this layer you can't buy your way out of because it's made of your business data, your processes, your workflows, your SOPs. Nobody sells your data organized. If your numbers live in four places and two of them are wrong, that points to where the actual work is. And the fourth layer here is the supervision layer. Everything above this decides what the agent can do. This decides whether anyone would notice if it did something wrong. So 4 jobs, and you can think of them as questions about a new employee with system access. Can I see what it did? That would be logging. Can it be told no? That's guardrails. What is it allowed to reach? That's access control. And can we prove all of it to an auditor or an enterprise buyer? That's compliant tools. So you can see how this infrastructure layer really does decide what the agent can do, and it's very powerful. So the main takeaway here is that this is the layer that lets you actually take your hands off. Once you can see what the agent did and set what it's allowed to touch, you can let it run, which is awesome, and really the whole point of AI. Without it, you're stuck approving every click, and you have a tool that you'd have to babysit, which isn't saving you any time. So why should you care about any of this? There's 2 main things I'd like you to walk away with. Number 1, start where the task lives to determine the correct tool for the job. A one-off question is layer 1. A repetitive process is layer 2. Anything touching your real systems and real customers is layers 3 and 4. And that's a different kind of project with a different budget, but huge benefits if integrated correctly. The number 2 thing I want you to walk away with is to know exactly what you're actually buying. So layer 1 and 2 tools are real and they work, and I use them daily. But understand your competitor can buy the same subscription this afternoon, cutting through an advantage that you thought you might had. The durable advantage is the outer 2. Your data in order, your systems connected, clear rules about what's allowed, and someone watching. That part can't be purchased because it's based on your data. So if you have any questions, comment below. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I can't wait to talk to you in the next one.